What's up guys, Sam Adams here, and tonight I want to talk to you about HD Remasters as well as Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition that was kind of leaked on Amazon. So we'll go ahead and start off with that. Last night on Amazon it was leaked that Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition would be coming to the PlayStation 4, but of course it was taken down almost immediately, although it pretty much all but confirms the fact that that is going to be coming our way, which is kind of strange because it was originally released by THQ, which shut down a couple of years ago, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes from there. But this kind of got me thinking about HD Remasters, which, of course, if you've been paying attention to any of the games that are coming out or have come out in the past year, we've got an abundance of remasters and re-releases. For instance, in just the past couple of months, we've seen new Resident Evil remastered, we've also seen Grim Fandango that was remastered, and then last year we saw The Last of Us remastered, and Master Chief Collection, which had remastered versions of Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2, as well as kind of buffed up versions of Halo 3 and 4, but I don't really count those. Anyways, the Borderlands collection is coming, or the Borderlands Handsome collection is coming later this year, as well as apparently Darksiders 2, and it just kind of got me thinking, at what point do HD remasters lose their value and we have too many of them? Generally, when it comes down to it, there are two schools of thought that I can point out when you're talking about this topic. And you've got Guy A, let's start with him, who is Fred, and he absolutely loved an older game. And whenever he hears that this franchise is coming to his new generation console, he gets extremely excited because it's an old experience that he loved as a kid, and he's going to be able to experience it again in 1080p, 60 frames a second, all of the DLC, all of the customization, all the bells and whistles of the new generation consoles, and he's more than willing to pay, you know, 40 or 50 bucks for a new version of his old favorite game. And then you've got Guy B, we'll call him Bob. And I tend to be a Bob in this situation, where I see companies trying to get as much money as possible out of an older game and an older franchise, and just trying to maybe fund new projects or fill their wallets, but in the end just trying to generate more revenue for their company. The sad part about it is, these games aren't the enemy here, because it just so happened that Borderlands, the pre-sequel, The Last of Us, and Saints Row 4, just to have a couple of examples, came out at very inconvenient times, because the new generation consoles were getting ready to come out, or had just come out. And by the time the development was almost done with all of these games, there was no chance of going back and reworking it in time for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so they just had to come out on the last generation consoles, which meant that they probably wouldn't be as popular as they potentially could be. So these companies are trying to go back and change them into something that is for a new generation console, and that's not the right way to go about it, because you're just bringing down the value of the new generation consoles. Because if the games were available back, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, then why wouldn't I just go buy it used for $4 on the Xbox 360? Of course, it wouldn't look as shiny or whatever, but you still get the same story and experience. What really worries me is that this new generation consoles, in my opinion, has not had a definitive series or a definitive game that has set it apart from the last generation of consoles, mainly because developers are still trying to develop games for both old and new generation consoles simultaneously. So, what this comes down to is that we're almost 2 years into the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One life cycle, and there's a season for everything. So, I think that if we want games to progress the way that they need to, instead of having, you know, HD remasters and re-releases, we need new IPs and new stuff to really define games and keep stuff moving and keep ideas fresh. We're going to have to, as a community, kind of finally call the old generation of consoles old and move on to the new generation of consoles. Obviously, this is bad news if you know, have an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 and you still love to play on that and you don't have enough money for a new generation console or PC. But we've just got to keep on moving, and we need new stuff in the gaming industry, because whenever I see games, I mean, Resident Evil was remastered and then remastered again last year. That's just repetitive, and we need new stuff in the world just to, you know, keep stuff fresh and keep new gamers coming into the community. At the same time, however, it's important to kind of pay tribute to the franchises that have made the gaming industry the way it is today. And so I made a rule. if a game is over 8 years old, it's okay to remaster. Like Halo 2 was due for a remastering. Whenever they remastered Halo Combat Evolved, that's fine. Grim Fandango is a great example of a remastering. But whenever you've got Borderlands 2, Borderlands the pre-sequel that came out last year, you've got Saints Row 4, and then you've got The Last of Us Remastered, these are just a couple of examples of ones that were not due for an update. There's a point where you're just pushing it out and trying to make money. So I think that if everybody kind of abided by the 8-year rule, not only would the longtime fans be happy because they get to re-experience their favorite franchises, we would also get an opportunity to kind of circulate and get some new stuff in the gaming world that isn't just a whole bunch of reskins and a prettier version of something that was already out. So there you guys have it. That's kind of my opinion on the whole HD Remasters Darksiders 2 kind of thing. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if you didn't agree with my opinion, but you can feel free to post your opinion in the comments below. And I also want to say welcome to all of my new subscribers that have been coming in lately. I think I'm up to 254 as of the time I'm making this video. So thank you all for that. And leave it in the comments below what you think about this. And if you're new to the channel or you've never seen any of my other videos, feel free to go check out some of my other uploads. I do stuff 4 days a week, so there's always something fresh. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.